Hey, this is Evan Marquez, dating and relationship coach for smart, strong, successful women, your personal trainer for love. Welcome back to the Love You podcast, a place where you can learn everything there is to know about dating, relationships, sex, and men from a man's point of view. I'm excited for today's topic. It's a great continuation on our previous episode, or a couple episodes, 387, where we were talking about the idea of screening in and swiping right on more people. Today, we're going to be talking about the mechanism by which CEOs screen their interns, and I'm really looking forward to today's content. Before we dive into today's content, regular listeners, you know the call to action. If you have been listening to the Love You podcast, please subscribe to us on Apple, subscribe to us on Spotify, subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us comments, leave us positive reviews, leave us negative reviews. We can take it. I'm thick-skinned. I've been doing this for a long time. But definitely let people know what we're up to here, because not to be too evangelical, but every week I get excited because I work with an individual client on the phone and something pops and she realizes she never has to go back to being in a bad relationship, and she could raise her standards for what she comes to expect from men, and she believes in love and she believes in herself and she sees the good in men. And job has still not gotten old, which is why I still enjoy doing these podcasts. So I hope you enjoy them as well. If you do, make sure you share them with friends. Reminder, this week is the launch of the Extraordinary Love series. Each month I'll be doing a Zoom call with a few hundred women. Not everybody's going to be talking at the same time. It's mostly going to be me talking. But a few hundred women on the call. Topic new each month, Q&A each month on that specific topic. This month we're kicking off with why smart, successful women struggle in love and how to change that. So make sure you go and register at extraordinaryloveseries.com. Put in your name, email address, and phone number so we could send you text reminders to make sure that you're there on time. And this is something I'm going to be doing regularly. So if you're a regular listener who wants more than you can get on the podcast, these are going to be monthly webinars that I do for free for people who really care to explore this subject in greater depth and have their questions answered. So make sure you register for that. Now, where we are at as a society is that, I know you come here for deep societal observations, is that texting is the most ubiquitous form of communication. And it is. Nothing I say here changes anything. We're just observing the exact same things and maybe drawing slightly different conclusions about them. So texting is the most common form of communication. It's also almost objectively the worst one. I'm not a Luddite. I'm not asking you to throw out your iPhone. I'm just pointing out that texting as a medium has built-in inherent problems. The same way that dating apps are less effective than old school dating sites because the dating app doesn't have the written profile and the email function. It's more of a swipe and text type thing. Texting is great for one-line responses. Hey babe, thinking of you, hope you're having a great day. Running 10 minutes late. Texting is really wonderful for that. It's not so great for getting to know someone new, nor is it great as a primary form of keeping in touch with someone that you're dating. Right? Texting an old friend to stay in touch, one thing. But in a new relationship, texting is the lowest form of communication. And we can rank forms of communication very plainly. Texting's at the bottom, and then it's email, right? And then it's a phone call, and then it's a FaceTime, and then it's a real life interaction or something like that. And we're going to get there in a second. So in Love You, my signature course, week 7, I do a unit on online dating. It's a 26-week course. Online dating is just 1 week of the entire course, but it's a very important week, which is why it's the longest week in the course. That's probably 90 minutes of material, where the average week is 30 to 40 minutes of material. And that's what I'm trying to teach you, everything I know about online dating in 90 minutes. It's not that easy to do. And in that unit, I outline a process that I created probably close to 20 years ago. And it was called 222. If you go Google evanmarkatz.com or Evan Markatz TED Talk, you could see I did a bit on the 222 rule during a TED Talk 10, 12 years ago. So the idea behind 222 is that because everybody is looking to move faster, especially men, they want to move faster. And this is even pre-dating app. There was a rush to move faster. And women don't always want to go as fast as men. They don't want to go on a blind date with a total stranger who might be creepy, stalky. We don't really know. So women tend to want to slow down. Men tend to want to speed up. So I outlined this thing that pleased, theoretically, both women and men. A couple emails back and forth on the dating site. Right, back in the day, it was a match. Couple emails back and forth on Gmail. Couple phone calls, date. All that takes place in less than a week. That was the original 222. And you don't need to follow that process to be successful. There's lots of ways to skin a cat. I try not to adhere to any of my own stuff too rigidly. But I very much believe that if you believe that you are the CEO of your love life and men are interns applying for a job, you need to have some HR department doing some measure of screening. Every random guy on the internet can't just walk into your office to get an interview with you. But that's sort of what we do now is swipe, text, and agree to meet total strangers. That stranger has nothing invested in you. He hasn't proven anything to you. What has he done? He's cute. So under the guise of he's cute, I want to see if there's chemistry. He wants to see if there's chemistry. What's the big deal about going on a blind date? Well, the answer is, well, when you go on a bunch of blind dates, it can often be kind of soul-sucking. Right? And I understand the idea is to see as quickly as possible if there's chemistry, but because you're not really doing any screening, you end up going on more bad dates than you want to, and you'll discover those dates are not as good as they could be because the person doesn't have any skin in the game. He's not really bought in. You're a face on a website, right? So you see the guys treat you more disposably because all they've ever done is text, swipe, and text a couple times. Where in real life, back in the day, and I'm not saying we could go backwards in time, back in the day, if I met you at a party and I talked to you for an hour and I got your phone number on a napkin, the thought of me flaking out on you is almost unheard of. Of course I'm going to follow through with you. I talked to you for an hour. Right? I'm excited about you now. It's hard to be excited about someone if I'm texting a dozen other people at the same time. But we sometimes expect people to be excited about us, to treat us really, really well, when really they have nothing invested in us. And that's the problem with 21st century dating. It's not something, it's your fault. It's not something you created. But we have to acknowledge that swiping and texting is a huge part of the problem with modern dating culture. And so my belief in 222 is that if you use some form of this system, and don't worry about 222 and don't worry about email if you're on a dating app, like don't take any of this too literally. But if you go through a written portion of the exam, right, and maybe we're not emailing, but we're texting through the app, and the texts are a little bit longer that read a little bit more like emails, and we can discover in that time, oh, this guy is bitter, this guy is negative, this guy is aggressive, this guy has no personality, this guy doesn't ask any questions, right? That's the whole purpose of it. It reveals something about him. It's not a test, but if you go back and forth and say some interesting things and you see if he could play ball and see if he could banter, then we might discover, oh, this guy's worthy. Now we could schedule a FaceTime call. And that is the second portion of what used to be 222. If we're using a dating app, it's couple days back and forth bantering on email, and when he says, hey, you want to go out with me? Oh my God, Brad, I'm really flattered. I'd love to get to know you better. Tell you what, I'm around tomorrow night at 7:30. Can't wait to hear your voice, see your face on FaceTime. Let me know if I could expect to hear from you then. And you're redirecting to a scheduled FaceTime, which is your first date. This is the coffee date. It replaces the coffee date that nobody likes. So now all you have to do is put on a little makeup and do a half-hour coffee date. And we will eliminate men at two different phases. The written stage and when you talk to him on the phone. If you have a conversation with a guy for 20 minutes and you want to slit your throat because it's like pulling teeth, well, I don't see why you would get dressed up to go and meet him. That's the whole point. It's supposed to screen people out. If it's not screening people out, it's not actually doing its job. If every guy that you swipe right on and you text gets a date, then you're not really screening. You're not really being an HR department. You're pretty much letting any cute guy who shows any interest in you, giving him a free pass, which means you might as well write your phone number on a bathroom wall any cute guy can get in the door with you if he swipes right and he's cute enough. And that's not the right reason to grant a guy a date. I know you might think it is, but what we really want in our interns is guys who prioritize you, guys who are willing to make an effort. All you have to do is lay out the breadcrumbs for them. So if you like meeting randos for coffee, go ahead. You do not have to listen to what I have to say at all. But for a lot of Love U clients, they find this technique, which is not really a technique, kind of revelatory. Oh, I'm going to banter with him for a couple of days on text. We're going to schedule a phone call. He's either going to show up on the phone call, flake on the phone call, say he doesn't want to do a phone call, right? Ignore my request for a phone call and start texting. But the whole point of this is to avoid texting, right? We don't want to get stuck in texting hell for weeks and weeks and weeks. So if you can make a connection with a guy like this, and this is the closest thing you can get to a first date, is face-to-face conversation, right? 90% of communication is nonverbal, so you get the tone of voice and the eye contact and the feeling. It is not the same as in-person chemistry, I grant that. This is not a perfect proxy. Not every good phone call is going to be a good date. But imagine we could eliminate 75% of bad dates, right? Which is to say blind dates with strangers with a couple of days of texting and one good 1 hour phone call. Would you rather go on 3 blind dates with strangers or 2 blind dates with strangers and one guy flakes out on you, or to go on 1 date a week with a guy that you've been flirting with, who talked to you on the phone, who's proven himself to you, who's excited to meet you, who's treating you like an individual instead of someone who's disposable on the internet? I think the answer is pretty obvious. So I often hear from women, they want to do this, right? Either they don't want to do this or they think men don't want to do this. So understand, my advice is not about right and wrong. I'm not demonizing you if you're the person who wants to swipe, text, and meet total strangers. More power to you if you're enjoying it. So I'm positing that most people are complaining about the way dating is now, but they're not doing anything different to push back on it. We're all going with the flow and agreeing to meet total strangers based on a very, very limited profile and very, very limited interaction. So we go back to effective and ineffective, not right and wrong. What's more effective in getting to know someone? Texting them one-liners a few times a day for a couple weeks, or maybe getting on like this, face-to-face with him for a half hour? You don't even need to think about it. It's so obvious, which is a better approximation of what going out with him will feel like. And so I want to tie this up with something that's, to me, very, very validating. There's a woman I worked with most of last year. She's graduated from Love U. She's a superstar. I've probably mentioned her before. Works in Hollywood. She's beautiful. Everything going for her pick of guys. And she was skeptical about this phone thing because she's 40 and people under 40 aren't used to using the phone as the phone was originally created. It's more of a vehicle for texting. And she was great. She was really, she's super smart, and smart women push back. I never mind the pushback. And I got her to buy into the idea of screening in and giving a chance to the guys who look like 6s. And not just going for the 9s and 10s that she could command, because she's done that before to negative affect. She's gone out with a lot of hot, rich Hollywood guys who turned out to be douchebags. So she knows intellectually that there are good guys who are not necessarily outstanding at marketing themselves online. So end of our term together, she runs a little experiment. And forgive me if you've heard me say this story before, but I just love the story. In 1 week, this is a little much, she did 4 FaceTime calls because she was doing my methodology. She was trying it on for size as one of my clients. So I'm going to do what you said. I'm going to do these FaceTime calls. I'm going to screen guys instead of just going out with them, right? And it almost turned out to be like a perfect test, because there were 4 guys. 2 of them were sort of, proverbial hot guys, right, that she would immediately want to go out with because they're her type, they're her caliber according to their short profiles. And 2 guys were the ones she kind of had mixed emotions about because they weren't nearly as impressive based on their profile. So here's what happens. She talks to all 4 guys on the phone, and she was coming to me, her mind was blown. The 2 guys who were the cutest, the 9s, the 10s, turned out to be kind of awful on the phone, and she had no interest in going out with any of them. Pretty lucky that she talked to them on the phone because she really didn't like them. It's good that she didn't have to leave a Saturday night to go out with the guy. And the 2 guys that she screened in had great personalities. She really enjoyed their company, and she was looking forward to meeting them. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's the end of the story. This has nothing to do about what happens in the future. To me, it's just proof of concept that there are men who are great at online dating because they're simply attractive and they can get away with murder, and they don't have to be particularly nice people. It doesn't mean every cute guy is not is a bad person. That's not what I'm saying at all. But basically, people give a pass to cute, rich, tall, right? And overvalue those traits when it comes to online dating. Why would I ever go out with we talked about this on the last call, why would I ever go out with a 5'9" guy if I can go out with a 6-foot guy? Why would I ever go out with a guy who makes 100 when I can go out with a guy who makes 200, and so on and so forth? So my client is proof of concept, right? She is smoking hot, high-powered executive. She can have any guy she wants. And by talking to guys on the phone, on FaceTime specifically, she discovered the guys she wanted the most on paper turned out to be duds when she was talking to them, and the guys who were less impressive on paper happened to be, in this small sample size, 2 guys that she enjoyed talking to. So the moral of the story, profiles are limiting, right? Especially dating app profiles. And it's not the best way to choose your dates, much less your partners. There are regular cute guys who, you know this, you've met them in real life. People that you were friends with at work and then started to have a crush on. I was talking to a client yesterday. Oh, I had this boyfriend and we knew each other for 6 years, and then one day everything changed. There's so many people like that out there. So I'm not telling you to go out with a guy who's in the friend zone. I'm not telling you to go out with a guy that you're not attracted to. Anything that you think I'm telling you, which is like eating your peas, I promise you have all the control here. I do have a philosophy. I think it's an important one, and I think it's a little counterintuitive. At the beginning, screen men in, say yes to the 6s. After that point, screen out based on their effort, their follow-through, right? Do those long written texts, do those FaceTime calls, and you're going to have fewer bad dates, better first dates, better connections, guaranteed. Just try it. You'll see. I look forward to hearing your response. My name is Evan Mark Katz. This is the Love You Podcast. Final announcement that the Extraordinary Love Series begins this week. Go to Extraordinary Love Series, www.extraordinaryloveseries.com. This month's call is on why smart, successful women struggle in love and how to change that, followed by a live Q&A. You do not want to miss this, so go there to register now. If you want some hand-holding about how you actually follow through on these ideas that I give liberally on these coaching calls, you know where you can reach me. It's evanmarkkatz.com/now. Book a time on my calendar. I'll get to know you. We'll learn about your limiting beliefs, what you've gone through in your past, what's not working for you, what you'd like to see happen in your love life, and if we're a good fit, we'll be able to go on a coaching journey that will produce tangible results in a short period of time. And that's the whole purpose of coaching. It is not therapy. It is forward-looking. What are we going to do now that you're ready for love? What are we going to do to make it happen for you? Thanks again. Subscribe on Apple, subscribe on Spotify, leave us a positive review. I don't think I got anything else to say, so good night, good luck, and I look forward to seeing you again on our next podcast and the Extraordinary Love Series. See you soon.